Every 6 months, we give you the best players to own in Dynasty Fantasy Football. Has been 180 days, and now these are the best players to own. They're not the best players. They're not the best values. They're not the best vets. They're not the best rookies. It's the best players to own, and this is, of course, relative to their price. We like their price, and so we think, hey, if you own this guy, they are massive holds. Do not trade them under any circumstance. First, start with somebody in the first round. I think he's the only guy here that's going to be in the first round, but it's going to be Cee Deez. We've talked a lot about Cee Deez this offseason, and straight to business here. If you have Cee Deez on your Dynasty team, he is one of the best players to own. You are only trading him if you are an absolute hard rebuild and you need a down tier. Other than that, we have not been telling you to trade Cee Deez. Why? Because we think Cee Deez, from a production standpoint, from a talent standpoint, from a situational standpoint, maybe not situational with Jamar, but sits up there with Jefferson and Chase in terms of what he can do. Just 2 years ago, we saw what Cee Deez can do. And Cee Deez, you are actually getting at a cheaper price than both Chase and Jefferson, where he really probably does belong in the same price range as those guys. Now, you've heard us talk about the changing wide receiver landscape in Dynasty Fantasy Football, and the fact that we think that these wide receivers are going to go up more closer to the top of drafts next year, like enter into the top 6. You already seen it a little bit this year with Jamar Chase jumping up there some. With Cee Deez, that's the main reason why. Because going from the late first to the potentially mid-early first is a large jump in value. It's a large jump in value. More importantly, though, you're not really looking at Cee Deez from a value perspective because you'd be like looking to trade him eventually. You're really looking at Cee Deez because he does have that league-breaking week-to-week upside where he can score you 35-plus points any given week and average 24-plus points over the course of an entire season. And that on your Dynasty team, in your starting wide receiver spot, is invaluable. That coupled with the fact that he's in a good situation, he's going to be in that situation for a while, at least for the next 2 years, it'll be good most likely until we kind of figure out what Dak's end of career is going to look like. That and the value that he's going to hold going into next year makes him one of the best players to own in Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you have Cee Deez on your team, congratulations. I think he's the crown jewel of your team. If you have him with another one of those receivers, you're obviously spoiled rotten. But Cee Deez, in our opinion, is going to go up in value year over year. He's going to help you win a championship this year, and all of those amount to him being one of the best players to own in Dynasty Fantasy Football.
So Rome Odunze is going to be our next guy here. He's honestly been one of the assets in Dynasty that we've talked about most this offseason, and I think it's very merited because when you're looking at his price range right now in Dynasty, there's no other wide receiver in his value range that really has the value upside to be an established, solidified, at the very least, second-round Dynasty startup pick this time next offseason, or really in the early offseason next year. And that's because he does have the traits and the ability and the flashes to really demonstrate that he can be the wide receiver 1 for Caleb Williams in the Chicago Bears offense and a Ben Johnson offense. I think we've kind of exhausted at this point what we think about him versus like DJ Moore and how we think that really is going to work out. I'm basically just going to tell you, like, based on the training camp news that we've been hearing, outside of, people saying that, oh, they had a bad drive here or they had a bad drive there. Well, no crap. Like, Caleb Williams is learning that offense, is learning an entirely different offensive system. It's going to look shaky in training camp. What I care about is the usage and where that usage is happening. And right now, Rome Odunze is lining up as the true X wide receiver on the outside, getting a ton of red zone targets, getting a ton of contested catch situational targets. He is essentially, according to Ben Johnson, going to be running a lot of slant routes, stop routes, go routes, like the entire route tree outside the numbers. This is a big play upside wide receiver with a skill set that can command a ridiculous amount of target volume and has the talent at quarterback in Caleb Williams who can consistently push the ball downfield. This is what you want to see for Rome Odunze. These are the reports that you want to see for a guy who we expect to break out in a big way this season. And when you're looking at the price gap right now, not only in Dynasty, but in Fantasy, that's not Dynasty and Fantasy, but in Fantasy football specifically, DJ Moore being ranked well ahead of Rome Odunze, and yet for whatever reason it's flipped in Dynasty because we actually expect Rome to be the one this year. I understand there's more risk with Rome this season, but again, I think we gotta put our money where our mouth's at with Rome Odunze, and I would highly recommend investing in him before his price goes up significantly because, again, in such a saturated wide receiver market right now where wide receivers are a dime a dozen across the league, it's the same in Dynasty. There's a lot of good talent and not a lot of elite level production. And Odunze at price is one of the only guys that has the upside and the opportunity to offer that elite level production. It's not a guarantee, but he has the best chance out of anyone in that range.
These are all guys that we would be telling you to hold on your blueprints. We are telling you to hold them on your blueprints, and Nathan and I have you completely taken care of. If you have a Dynasty team, you're not quite sure about going into the season, or if you want a second opinion, you can get a team blueprint from us at the link in the comment, but you get a free one with the annual Mother Flocker tier, which means you come join the community, you get all the tools on the site for a year, and included in that is a free blueprint from Nathan and I for your Dynasty team, and that includes Infinite Blueprint, which is an update on that blueprint every single month. It's the best deal in the Dynasty space, and again, Nathan and I can help you. We can talk through your team with you, and we can get you a plan so that you're not just going into the season completely clueless. So check it out at flockfantasy.com/domain. Like I said, it's free with the annual Mother Flocker tier, and that's by far the best value. But let's talk about Omarian Hampton. And yes, I do say his name correctly, unlike this guy, because I'm respectful of his name. So, Omarian Hampton. We obviously already talked about this in a video recently. Omarian Hampton from an analytical standpoint, from a prospect analysis standpoint, is almost guaranteed to hit. All the guys in the bakery hit in this range, okay? Like hit at a big level, like first round hit. So he's almost analytically a sure thing. We talked situationally about Greg Roman, so I'm not going to build out that entire argument again. But here are the cliff notes. His prospect grade was elite. He is in one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL. He's playing under one of the best head coaches in the NFL. He has a good quarterback in Justin Herbert that makes his situation ideal. And Najee Harris plays with fireworks. That's the last one. And Najee Harris has been upgraded. He's doing
walking drills.
He's walking around the yay for Najee. He did it. Hampton is going to get every carry there. The Chargers were like, you know what? Najee Harris, he's a good free agent. He's had 1,000 yards every season. We're going to go sign him, and maybe he can be like kind of the yin-yang for then Najee was like, fireworks, yay!
And they did that before the draft, by the way, before they knew that Hampton was going to be available in the late first round.
Correct.
So.
Fireworks, Gandalf. Look, Hampton, again, we think he's an absolute lock to go up in value. Like second round, like early second, mid-second round. And he's going right now in the third in your Dynasty drafts. An absolute steal. He's been on 102 in rookie drafts. That has changed as Travis Hunter jumped up there. Ted McMillan has been up there. It's still Hampton. Hampton is still that guy at the running back position. And if you own him in Dynasty this year, there's 0% chance I am selling him. Even on rebuilds, you hold him. Why would you pass up a value when on a rebuild? Hampton's going to eat this year. He's a good player on a good offense, and he's going to gain Dynasty value year over year, and he's going to score you a lot of points in the meantime.
So there's kind of a value range of wide receivers after your big three, right? You have J. Jeff, you have Chase, you have CeeDee Lamb, and then you have this little range of like your A-tier guys that are Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Malik Neighbors, and then you have BTJ. And honestly, the only reason that BTJ is not being considered in a higher value range, maybe even like almost a tier of his own, is because of the Travis Hunter pick. And while I understand and I fully admit that, like, hey, there are questions with what Travis Hunter's usage is going to be and how he's going to complement BTJ. Will he take away from BTJ? I don't really know specifically. At the end of the day, I could tell you, I can guess. I cannot tell you with 1,000% certainty what Travis Hunter is going to do in that offense consistently. What I can tell you with 1,000% certainty is what BTJ did last year in a terrible offense, a terrible situation with Mac Jones throwing him the ball. And he's heading into a situation this season where at the very least, Travis Hunter will add some talent to that wide receiver room, which will help BTJ not only with his explosive plays, but hopefully his volume a little bit more as well, because Trevor Lawrence is going to be back healthy. Liam Cohen is now calling the plays there in that offense. And with BTJ this season, I do believe that like he should be able to mimic what he did last season to a similar degree and do that pretty consistently throughout his career, barring injury, because again, guys, you saw a wide range of target volume and opportunity for BTJ last season. You saw anywhere from 3 or 4 targets to like 12 targets. And with that variance in volume, he had pretty much the same production outcome regardless. Like you look at his highest targeted game, 14 targets, 10 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, good for 32 points. He also had a 4-target game where he scored 14 points, another 4-target game where he scored 15 points. He had multiple single-digit target games, 6 targets, 5 targets. He had a 5-target game with 22 points. He had like a 7-target game with 13. This guy, it doesn't really matter how much target volume you give him, even if he takes a slight per-game target dip because Travis Hunter's in that offense, his big play upside and the role that he plays in that offense is not really going to change. And I think with the way that you're seeing Travis Hunter being utilized right now, 50-50 on the defensive and offensive side of the ball during training camp, I do think they plan on using him both sides of the ball. What I also think is that based on Brian Thomas Jr.'s skill set and how successful it was last year, that was like the one thing Doug Peterson got right, and I don't really know why Liam Cohen would want to change that. So when you're looking at that value range in Dynasty right now with BTJ, Amon-Ra, Malik Neighbors, Puka Nacua, with the exception of Puka Nacua, you pretty much have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has, I think, the highest floor of any of these guys, but he also has a chance to dip a little bit. And then you have Malik Neighbors, who's in a way worse situation, but he commands a lot of target volume. He's also having some injury issues right now, potentially. I think BTJ, honestly, is kind of the forgotten prospect of 2024 who panned out to an elite level. And forgotten, he's still a first-round Dynasty pick, right? So he hasn't been forgotten, but he's almost slightly overlooked to a degree where it's like, hey, you're getting pretty much the same production output as all these other guys. But we were talking about the wide receiver 4 overall last year. The wide receiver 4 overall and one of the worst offenses that you were seeing all season. So I honestly, like with that second tier below at the wide receiver position in Dynasty, even if Hunter eats into his workload, he can't fall that far because he just is so explosive with the even if he does get a limited opportunity any given week because of Hunter potentially eating into that. So just keep that in mind this year. If you have BTJ right now, especially in high upside formats, start 8 formats, like ain't no way that I'd be moving him there.
I am very happy to announce that we are going to let Alvin Kamara die on your Dynasty rosters. He will die and be buried there, and that's okay. He's obviously not really going to die, but I just wanted to show you what Alvin Kamara's statistics look like from a fantasy football production standpoint compared to the guys going around him in Dynasty fantasy football drafts. This is the part of Dynasty where we get kind of dumb. We just do. There's no other way to describe this besides dumb. Because when I see a guy that is 5th in points, average points per game, obviously, 5th in running back finish, and I put him against the guys in that range who are 16th, 42nd, and 21st in those same metrics, I'm like, wait a second. Why is the guy that's 5th in the same value range in Dynasty as those guys 16th, 42nd, and 21st?
Well, because he's old.
You guys don't think that Pacheco and DeAndre Swift are like just as risky as Kamara is this season, if not more?
They're more risky.
They're more risky.
Kamara's a way better,
They're
way
so much
better
more
piece to
risky.
roster than those. Look, any of the guys going around Kamara are not going to score near as many points. 18.9 points per game last year. What if he falls off this year? Darn. I mean, what are we going to do? If your Dynasty team is so shallow that it hinges on Alvin Kamara, who is currently at price going in like the 9th or 10th round, if your Dynasty team hinges on a 9th or 10th round value and can't absorb the blow of a 9th rounder falling off and hitting the age cliff, then your Dynasty team's not a true contender. That's the entire point. When we're giving you your team archetype, your 3-year outlook on your team blueprints, we're making that decision based on how easy it is for your Dynasty roster's value portfolio to take hits like Alvin Kamara. If you can't take this level of hit, you can't contend. You're not there. You're too close to hard rebuild. You'd be a hard rebuild at any second. And so any good contending Dynasty team can take this. If Alvin Kamara does nothing this year and his value plummets, it's fine. Why? He's dirt cheap. He's dirt cheap. He's more like 8th, 9th round than 10th, but like the point still stands. He's going next to Monty. He's going next to Pacheco. He's going next to Swift. Alvin Kamara's not in the same planet in terms of talent and production in fantasy football as these guys right here. And so because of that, because he is so cheap, he will die on my roster. He will be deceased on my roster, and that's fine, because if it's 3 years down the road, I got 3 years of Alvin Kamara that I feel really good about. 3 years of Alvin Kamara even scoring me 15 points per game. What if he does? What if he regresses from 19 to 15 points per game this year? What a shame that would be. He'd still be the most productive guy in this group. He's better. He's the top receiving back in the league. He's 1st in targets last year on a per-game basis, 1st in receiving yards on a per-game basis, 6th in total yards, 7th in snap share. Well, what else do you want? I mean, sure, he's not going to out-carry a guy or get more red zone than like a Chuba Hubbard or something like that in that price range, but we like Chuba as well. And the point is, Kamara is so cheap, who actually cares? Who cares? I don't care. Do you care?
Not really.
If you're a contender, you roster Alvin Kamara, and he literally does not leave your roster until the day he's done. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. I don't, again, my contending teams are good enough to absorb that loss. So sometimes value losses are worth it. Sometimes guys die on your roster. This is where Dynasty, sometimes we get a little bit too, we got to go get Isaiah Pacheco, the young starting running back. Gosh, please. Alvin Kamara, if you have him, never trade him. As long as you're contending, never trade him. And obviously, if you're a rebuild, sure, you're maybe trading him in season because you're going to try to get him to a contender and get. But if you're contending, why would you not have this guy? It's a no-brainer. Again, one of the best values right now, and probably the most productive receiving back in the league at the moment. And that includes Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way. And that's pretty impressive in its own right. And so Kamara, he will die on our Dynasty rosters.
Look, there are only so many different ways that we can argue in favor of this Dynasty asset that I'm about to argue in favor of again for the third time in the last 3 weeks. Quinshon Judkins is one of the best players to own in Dynasty Fantasy Football right now.
Spit.
More than that, he is one of the best players to purchase in Dynasty Fantasy Football right now. Case number one, and it's not his rookie contract. The Dynasty value chart on Keep Trade Cut, which I can tell you for sure does actually, this is the point where it is accurate. This is accurate. When the news came out about Quinshon Judkins and all the stuff that's been going on this offseason and him missing out on training camp, you saw his value just go immediate, shaboom, lost like 10 spots at the running back position. If this is not the perfect opportunity to play the market on a player who sees an extreme value dip like this, I don't know what else is. I don't know what else is. We just saw it last year with two other guys, Jordan Addison and Rashee Rice. I will say this again. Quinshon Judkins is going to get suspended. He's going to miss the entire season. Show me another example where a case like this occurred, where they did not have video evidence, where a guy like Quinshon Judkins actually missed the entire season.
Well, the difference is he's not on his contract, so he's just not going to get signed.
Show me an example where a rookie who had an offseason issue, who was an early day 2 pick in the NFL draft, did not end up playing a lick of football and didn't actually end up signing his rookie deal. This would be the first time in like the history of the NFL that this happened. And I know you're going to come back and come up with some obscure example that happened back in 1969.
Nice.
Guys, we are freaking out about stuff that has not happened. Has not happened. Like the whole rookie contract thing is so overplayed right now.
That's crazy to me.
Unbelievably overplayed. Like this has never been an issue. This has never been an issue, ever. And again, like, this is not like you're signing a second multi-million-dollar deal and then you have some off-season issue like Deshaun Watson. Oh, and by the way, Deshaun Watson ended up signing a $260 million guaranteed deal.
With what team?
With the Cleveland Browns of all teams.
Okay.
Again, if you were to even be concerned, the Cleveland Browns should wash those concerns away because they don't care. They, of all the teams, could not care less. If Quinshon Judkins can run a football and he could run a football real nice, then they're going to have him on their team. And yeah, no, he's not getting reps in training camp. That's a bummer. Like that honestly is unfortunate for a rookie running back who you want to come out and make a difference immediately in an offense that's so lackluster that they can't even figure out the quarterback situation for the life of them. Like that is unfortunate for the start of Quinshon Judkins' season. If you're concerned about Quinshon in fantasy football, by all means, be concerned about Quinshon Judkins in fantasy football, especially the way that he starts the year. But he will play this year. And he will play for the next 3 years. And Quinshon Judkins in Dynasty Fantasy Football's 3-year outlook has not changed. No. It has not changed in any way whatsoever. Like, you guys got to stop with this rookie contract thing. I get it. He hasn't signed his rookie contract. That literally, like, that is a red herring argument. That has nothing to do with his play whatsoever. And that has nothing to do with what his outlook's going to be. Like, what are you implying when you're saying that he hasn't signed his rookie deal? That he's never going to sign a rookie deal and that he's never going to play in the NFL? This is an early day 2 pick that was viewed equivalent in value to Travion Henderson. That's value equivalent to JT and Kyron Williams, guys. He should not have lost this much value. I just bought him again, like for the third time. I just got him for like scataboo and some change. Well, like, why would you not want to capitalize on that opportunity? Someone just said that they moved like Myers and a third for Quinshon or something. Like this is the last time that I make the Quinshon Judkins argument for the rest of the offseason. until we finally hear what ends up happening and when he comes out to training camp. Because like I honestly like I can't think of any other reason to convince you that Judkins is going to play and he's going to be fine. And if he does get suspended for a few games, it's going to be a few games, and it ain't going to be this year, because these legal cases take a long time. A long time. Video evidence of Alvin Kamara literally beating the crap out of someone took a long time. And there was video evidence of that. And it took a year and a half for them to suspend him. If you don't agree with me at this point, then you're never going to.
No, and that's what I was going to say. Look, you guys are free to your own opinions. I know there are some of you guys who come like, yeah, I completely disagree with you on Quinshon. It's fine. You're entitled to your opinion on this one. I'm telling you this. Nathan and I don't speak very confidently about many things at all, because we know that in Dynasty you're going to be right sometimes, you're going to be wrong sometimes.
Yep.
You will revisit this video and you'll be like, these guys were right, and I wish I would have listened to them. It is cut and dry, black and white. We have seen this a million times before with off the field issues, and every time in Dynasty we have played the market on it, has never, ever failed us. Never. Even Deshaun Watson, who ended up sucking, you got a value in because he was so undervalued in Dynasty. And so I promise, you just come back, save the receipts.
You're talking
and if
people,
you're right,
you're talking
I will
people,
sit here.
You're talking to people who fell for that stuff too, with the Deshaun Watson big value dips.
Yeah.
And that was
we
like
learned our
actually
lesson.
concerning. I mean, you're talking about like 60 plus cases, and yeah.
And if you're right, I'll sit here on camera and tell you that you were correct. Of course I will do that. So, next guy. You have never been able to get the 101 in a super flex league, a quarterback, so cheap, ever. And Cam Ward right now is going in the 5th round in your Dynasty startups. And look, what's Cam Ward's value ceiling? I don't know. Probably not super high, because you make the same argument you make for CJ Stroud.
I mean, people were talking about that with Bo Nix. What was Bo Nix's value ceiling? Probably not super high. He went sometimes this offseason. He went fringe or late 2nd round.
Guys,
that's pretty good value.
He's the first
upside.
overall pick in the NFL draft. And so in my opinion, with the team investment, the level of team investment that he has, because remember, Will Levis, so he was a 2nd round pick, okay? This is the 101. Cam Ward seems like a pro. He's not, a Shedeur Sanders type, where he's, got all this negative press around him and things like that.
Hence why he was drafted first overall.
Why he was drafted first overall and Shedeur Sanders wasn't. Cam Ward is obviously the clear starting guy in training camp. There is no competition.
There's definitely not anymore, because Levis is done for the year.
He's playing with an offensive-minded head coach in Brian Callahan. Why not just take the shot in the 5th round? I mean, so a perfect example of this is if you've got a quarterback, this is a market play type piece of advice here. If you got Justin Herbert, why not just down tier to Ward? Mm-hmm. Why not? If you got CJ Stroud, why not down tier to Ward? That's why he's a good value. He's one of the best players to own, because the guys going ahead of him who have the exact same ceiling as he does are going at a way more expensive price, and you can have him cheaper. He is that level of quarterback. He's young. He has upside. He's playing with a new head coach. He's playing in an organization that sucks, unfortunately, but, hopefully he makes them better. He's the first overall pick. He has a significant amount of team investment, and you're getting him lower than guys that not all of those things can be said for them, and we know that they're going to produce at a high in QB2 or low in QB1 level. That's Cam Ward's ceiling as well, probably. Actually, we don't know what Cam Ward's ceiling is. I don't really know what Cam Ward is going to do in the NFL, but I'm willing to take that bet for 5th round prices, absolutely. And so Ward, he's a good value compared to other quarterbacks with similar production profiles, and he's the 101, and he's a mystery box. Why not take the mystery box? I will definitely take my shots on Cam Ward, especially where I need him as my quarterback too. I think it's a great shot in Dynasty.
So I do have an apology to owe you guys. I mean, I just spent 10 minutes ranting about Quinshon Judkins and saying how right I am. There are plenty of times where we and I are wrong about things. And Cortland Sutton, honestly, this offseason has been one of those guys where heading into the NFL draft, we were lower on him, understandably, because we thought there was a pretty good chance that they were going to go invest in an offensive weapon, like a significant one, whether it was in the 1st round with a tight end or a wide receiver, or even day 2. They ended up drafting Pat Bryant, which does not impact anyone's value whatsoever in that offense right now. Pat Bryant could end up being amazing, whatever. That's not something that you can really project. But with Cortland Sutton, after the NFL draft, I think is really where we messed up, because I got so locked into saying hey, Cortland Sutton's a sell, Cortland Sutton's a sell, Cortland Sutton's a sell, because of the risk of who they may invest in the NFL draft, that once they didn't, I kind of just let it go. And not intentionally. I honestly just got a little bit lazy with the analysis. It almost was like a psychological effect where it's hey, Cortland Sutton just was a sell because he actually wasn't that good. He's going to regress. I mean, when you look at the efficiency metrics last season and what he did in the last half of the season, there's really nothing saying that he's going to slow down next year in 2025 when like they only added Evan Ingram. If anything, Evan Ingram should hopefully help him because they were just distributing the ball to like really, really mid-level wide receivers beyond Courtland Sutton throughout that offense. And hopefully RJ Harvey, again, elevates that run game, which opens up the field for wide receivers as well in the passing game. But look, with Courtland Sutton this year, the market is working on correcting, but hasn't totally corrected yet to a point where like, hey, you still have him valued in like that really cheap, productive veteran wide receiver range, like Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, and Terry McLaurin being the big one. Terry McLaurin has always been elevated a level above those guys, and Sutton is still cheaper than that, which is why it makes him one of the better guys to own. I mean, we could have put Devontae Adams on here as one of the best players to own in Dynasty. We could have put Tyreek Hill as one of the best Dynasty players to own in this year. We've already talked about them plenty, and everyone knows and understands what their upside is. I think people, including myself, caught up way too late to this idea, or almost too late, where it's like, hey, we're just now realizing Courtland Sutton's still the wide receiver 1 in Denver, and he was winning people leagues last year. He almost got Sal to the playoffs after he started out like 3-6.
I think Courtland Sutton won me 2 Dynasty leagues.
Yeah, no, like, Courtland Sutton is actually legit. And again, I had to do a lot of in-depth analysis here, and you guys have seen it at this point because I've talked about him in DFF videos. I've talked about him in Dynasty videos before this, and saying that his price isn't really matching his production. And I will fully admit, guys, like I should have been on top of that earlier than right now. But I guess better late than never, because you can still get him at a pretty fair price. And you can, again, it might be a little shaky with Terry right now because of the contract disputes in Washington. A lot of people don't want to see him leave. But if you can down tier from anyone else in that range, honestly, you can down tier from Ricky Pearsall and get Courtland Sutton plus. If you want to pivot off of Burden and go get Courtland Sutton as a contending team, like I'm in full support of that. He still has very reasonably price. Obviously, the extension in Dynasty helps quite a bit for his insulation. It looked like a 3-year deal they said 4-year deal at face value. I don't know if the details have come out yet, but I would assume there's an out after the 2nd year. That's generally how it ends up being for when you look at the guarantees for these guys, these older wide receivers. But I mean, even DJ Moore being priced well above Courtland Sutton right now. I mean, there's a lot of red flags with DJ Moore in terms of his route running, his efficiency, the reports coming out of camp, and how little usage he's getting and how much usage Rome Odunze is getting. You can get Courtland Sutton at a cheaper price than DJ Moore right now. They're close to the same age, and one of them's the one, the other one might not be. So just keep that in mind as we go into further into training camp this season. And if you can still get them at a fair price and people haven't adjusted yet, then I would try to capitalize on that.
And so again, these are the 8 best players to own in Dynasty. Congratulations to them on the awards. We'll send them in the mail. Just send us your addresses and your phone numbers so we can text back and forth with you during the season. That'd be great. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, if you got any other players that you think should have been nominated, you should drop in the comments below. Make sure you drop a like. And if you play Dynasty, make sure you're subscribed. We've got to be close. By the time we release this video, we've got to be super close to 30K. So we appreciate you guys. If we hit 50K by the start of next season, I mean, I think Nathan and I will get a matching tattoo, and you want to see that, right? You can get a team blueprint at flockfantasy.com/domain, code domain, annual motherflocker tier. I got the link in the comment for you. Also, if you're not wanting a blueprint and you just want to use the tools on the site, we got the season pass for you down there as well. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later.